You're listening to the Your Story Within podcast with Dr. Janine Bennett, a writing coach and author with 5 published books to her name and a few more in the works. Through this podcast, Dr. Bennett aims to help listeners tell their story within and shares all the industry secrets of self-publishing and book marketing. And now, here's your host, Dr. Janine Bennett.
Hi, friends. Welcome to episode 33, Overcoming Writer's Block. So today we have Melanie Lemus with us. She is my podcast partner, as I always say, and she is my communication specialist and just a phenomenal writer as well. She writes a lot of the blog articles, as you see, and does a lot of the just content writing for other things. So I had to have her on the show to talk about writer's block. So Melanie, what is writer's block?
Well, we looked up the definition so that we got this right. According to Merriam-Webster, writer's block is a psychological inhibition preventing a writer from proceeding with a piece. Bottom line, you just can't write. No matter how hard you try, the words just won't flow. One time we heard a writer call it creative constipation.
Yes.
So Janine, I've talked to you before. We've both had writer's block, right?
Yes.
And not only the words won't come, but sometimes the ideas just won't come. And we're just kind of like, I just have no idea where to even start. So what causes writer's block?
Oh gosh, there's so many things, but the things that come to mind just immediately for me are distractions, procrastination. You just don't want to write something, so you're putting it off. Maybe you're struggling with a particular aspect of what you're writing, and so you just put it off. I'm great for procrastination. Melanie will tell you that at times. And then sometimes you just don't feel well. You know, you might be fighting a cold or something else is going on, so some sort of illness or health issue. And then sometimes just those negative self-doubt feelings arise, and it just causes you to get stuck. And the more you feel stuck, the more you have this negative self-talk.
Right.
So those are the main things. There's a lot of other things, and we're going to talk about some tips for overcoming writer's block, and other items will come up as to a cause potentially.
Yeah.
But,
there's one I can think of, another cause. You write a lot of, like you've done a 3-part series on your life story. And I would imagine that writing something so personal, one source of writer's block can be like, I'm just not ready to work through that right now. I am not ready to get that on paper. Like, I'm just not in an emotional place where I can grapple with those topics and get it out in a way that is going to be effective, right? So that could be an emotional block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very true. Sometimes you're just not ready, like you said, emotional block, or you're not ready to open that can of worms that, you've tucked things away, especially for those of us who write memoir type books. You don't want to share some things that are going to trigger emotions in you. So you put them aside. My first book, I actually started writing, no joke, like 20 years ago. And I probably have, 4 or 5 different versions of that. But I could never move forward because of the triggers. Every time I would write about a particular topic within the book. And once I moved past that, I wrote the book in a month. But until you're ready emotionally to deal with some things, you just can't. So good point, Melanie. I didn't even think about the emotional side, but you're absolutely right. Yep. So let's talk about tips for overcoming writer's block. What about you, Melanie? I know you read a lot, so go ahead and let's start with the first one.
I do read a lot. The first one is read for inspiration. Reading books will get your creative juices flowing, or reading, depending on like what you're writing. I write a lot of blogs and stuff like that. So I will sometimes go and just surf the internet for inspiration and different ideas. And oftentimes I'll have an entire page of just like one-line notes of just like, this idea I want to write about, or I like this aspect and this. And then I'll look at this entire thing and I'll be like just swimming in ideas after that. So reading for inspiration, That's the first one.
Yes, I'm the same way. I started reading for enjoyment last year. As you know, friends, I've shared that I'm a university professor and I've been in school and all those things. And so I never took time out to just read for enjoyment. I mean, if you look over here, I don't know if you can see this. I'm also a research chair for some doctoral candidates. So this is my fun reading, case study research, uh, qualitative research, coding manual. I mean, yeah, that's not so fun.
That looks like so much fun, Janine.
Oh my God. And it's a stack just to guide some of my doctoral candidates. So I really have to make it a point to take time out to read things that I actually enjoy, just to give my mind a break. I joke with Melanie that she has to help me be fun so that I don't come across as this boring nerd. Not that nerds are bad. I'm still a nerd. But sometimes I'm just so focused and I give people this blank look and she's like, Janine, snap out of it, But anyway, read for inspiration. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll get those creative juices flowing. The next thing I would add is write. Well, Janine, how are we going to write if we have writer's block? Well, friends, here's the tip. Write something other than the book or the blog you're working on. Just write for fun. Write anything just to get you writing, just to go through the motion of writing. There's so many times when I'm writing a book and I can't find the scripture. I write Christian women's Bible study books. And sometimes I'm like, what is that scripture? Or I just can't focus. I'm not finding what I'm looking for. And I really just want to work on a short story.
Yeah.
I really want to write fiction. I haven't tried that yet. I'm really excited to explore that option. So sometimes I'll just start writing, just to write. And that'll get my creative juices flowing. And then I can go back to that Bible study I'm working on and grab that scripture and really run with it, So sometimes just write. You just need to write something else.
For sure. And another thing with just getting the writing, for me, a lot of times, there's so many distractions, like so many, like the phone notifications or, whatever's going on. We homeschool and there's always something going on. And so to get the discipline to actually just sit down and be like, okay, I have to focus and I have to produce and create something. Something as simple as even writing a handwritten note to a friend. It gets you to slow down and be like, okay, I'm going to start activating my brain and start actually putting words to paper. And just even something that simple, that's not like a piece of work that you're going to share with the world, is just the act of actually, like you're saying, just writing anything. It switches your brain into that mode of, okay, now we're going to start putting thoughts to paper.
Right. Exactly. I like that. I didn't even think about the notes. That's a great idea. I'm going to use that. Let me write that down now.
I'll text you my address so you can send me one.
There you go.
Well, what if we don't know what to write? Even what if we want to write, but we still don't know what to write? What do you recommend?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because we both have a friend who pumps out, I swear, a book a month. I don't know how she does it.
A book a month.
And she literally comes up with these ideas. And I'm like, where did you come up with that idea? I don't think like that. And again, because I'm doing all of this not
technical
so stuff, technical, the creative side sometimes needs a little prodding, needs some prompting, right? So I tell you, one of my favorite books is The Writer's Idea Thesaurus. I love this, by Fred Wright. There is, oh my gosh, let me look at this. I'm going to just tell you. There is 294 pages of ideas.
Wow.
And I'm talking, something as simple as the transformation of X into Y. And it gives examples of the transformation of inanimate objects into living creatures and vice versa, or
Toy Story.
Yeah, exactly. The, secret of X, secret of animals, secret of missions or callings. I mean, you name it, it's got everything in here. So this always gives me ideas. So as I continue to explore the fiction side.
Mhm.
I've been looking through this just to kind of think how I could turn, that X into a Y and make it a best-selling book.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I love this book.
So
This is
writer's
great.
prompts, right? It doesn't have to be, or writer's prompts can get you focused on writing. Like you said, you use, and that's by Fred. What was this? White
White.
or Wright?
Yep.
White.
White.
Okay.
White. Yep.
Very cool. So writer's prompts. All right. What about? There's another way that we can get our brain working in a creative way, a problem-solving way that doesn't have to do with writing, and that's working on a puzzle. Um,
I love
yeah,
puzzles.
yeah. So, puzzling stimulates your brain. It stimulates dopamine in your brain and gives you a creativity boost. So, analyzing and assessing can lead to overcoming writer's block. That's really interesting.
Yes, because you're so focused on trying to find those pieces, that you get your mind, it's like firing on different cylinders now. You're not so focused on your other problem, but you are solving problems
Yeah.
because you're trying to find, where is that? I got all the corner pieces. Where is that, centerpiece? And then you realize that your child has done this puzzle and has lost that puzzle piece, and you're almost done and can never finish. And that's,
It sounds like that's happened to you before.
yes, that's, oh
So,
gosh,
okay,
that's
so doing
something
different
for another
puzzles,
time.
right? Doing different puzzles activates a different part of your brain. That's cool.
Well,
I
and
think
it's
our
not, and I'm talking about jigsaw puzzles, but you can really do crossword puzzles or anything to get you thinking differently. You're just
okay.
trying to get that brain firing in all cylinders. That's all.
Yeah. The next tip that we have, it also talks about activating different parts of the brain, and music is a huge is a huge part of a lot of people's lives because it does put you in a different mental state. And so, why don't you talk to us about playing music to overcome writer's block?
So a lot of times when I have writer's block, especially when I'm working on a women's Bible study book, playing worship music. So I'll turn on Pandora and I'll turn on my Christian music and just listen to song after song after song. And that puts me in the mood for writing the topics that I'm writing. I have been told, I haven't checked it out, but I've been told YouTube and Spotify actually have playlists created to help writers with writer's block.
How interesting.
So I am going to check that out. I've been told, I have not looked for myself, but it is on my list to do now. To check it out.
So actually, on that note, I actually have this app that I use all the time. It's called Brainwave, and it's like got binaural beats. And what that is like they play one tone in one ear and another one, a complementary one in the other ear. And when they meet in the middle, it's supposed to adjust your brain waves to different, like depending on what you set it on. Like they have, a power nap one that I use, and literally within 13 minutes, I am taken, like within a minute, I'm taken down into a sleep and then brought back up awake, and I can do a power nap in 13 minutes. And I feel like refreshed and awake, because it affects your brain waves and it takes you to this deep relaxation state and then brings you back awake. Well, they have different programs in here for, they have creativity boost. They have problem solving, brainstorming, concentration, critical thinking, focused and alert, morning coffee they have that'll just like wake you up. So I have had really excellent results with using this Brainwave program. And you can actually play it just sounds like a hum, and you can play that while listening to other things. So you can play it while listening to your worship music, and it's just like a low I think I told you about it. Did you try it for naps?
And Hayden uses it for his insomnia, and it has helped in some regards for that as well. But I forgot, I just haven't been so good about remembering that I have this app. So I did use it. I'm going to
try the creativity boost one at some point. When next time you're writing, try that. So so music, or like I said, these binaural beats. The next point that we're going to talk about, this is a huge one for me. I have a really hard time focusing and being productive when my house is in a state of dishevelment. Is that a word? When my house is
Disarray.
like in disarray, that's the word I was looking for. So oftentimes I'll like sit here and I'll struggle for like an hour, like, oh, and I'm so distracted by all the things going on. And I'm like, you know what? Finally, I'll just like push myself away from the desk and I'll be like, I'm just going to clean the house, and I'll put on like a podcast or an audiobook or music or something. And I'll spend an hour or two cleaning the house. And when my house is clean, then I can actually sit down and focus. And I feel so much more like at peace and able to just give all of my attention to what I'm
Yes.
doing.
I'm the same exact way. This stack of books that I have here for the doctoral research needs to be put away because it is becoming a hindrance to my creative process.
Yeah.
Because the more I have this here, the more I'm focused on that technical side, and I
Yes.
can't switch my thinking to the more creative side. So I do have to get that out of here. I don't like things on my desk like that. I don't like things around the house because I work at home. So
Yeah.
I'm drawn to, I got to get the laundry done. I got to do this. So then it goes to that distracted. I'm distracted by
Yes.
so many things, and then I can't focus. So
Mhm.
I am the same way. But as soon as I unclutter the house, I also unclutter my mind and
Exactly.
and can move forward. So yes, yep.
I agree.
Yep. Now this one, Melanie, is you, because you are my schedule person. You have calendars and checklists
Oh, I have
and
so many calendars.
tracking mechanisms.
Got one here. These are all my writing. I don't know if you can see it. Those are
There
all
you
my
go.
writing, my assignments.
So why don't you take the next one?
Okay, so make a writing schedule. So we've talked about this in a couple of previous podcasts, one not too long ago, where we talked about scheduling. And this is my time blocking schedule. And one of the best things that we can do is schedule time to write. It can be, some writers will write the same time every day for the same length of time. Because it forces their it forces their mind to produce these creative goods, right? They're used to it. Okay, after my morning routine, I'll sit down and that's when I'm creative. And so you train your brain to get into that mode, right? So that helps a lot of people. So those types of people, they treat writing as a job, and then they're just focused on getting the job done. For other people who have a full-time job and want to write for pleasure, that's where scheduling time where it fits within your work schedule and your life schedule is really important, because like you said, trying to write a book can take 10 years and you're still no farther than where you were when you started.
Exactly.
So yeah, taking the time, being deliberate. What'd you find? I just saw this look of inspiration on your face.
Well, as you were talking, I had up a book. I don't see it at the moment. Basically says writer with a day job. That's what the name of the book is. And let me see. I'm going to pull it out now. I'm going to give some props to the author here. Let's see. As you mentioned that, yes, writer with a day job, inspiration and exercises to help you craft a writing life alongside your career. I'm not sure how you say the author's name.
Let's see. What's it look like?
Can you see that?
Oh, Anne Greene. I don't know.
Greene. I don't know. But anyway, it is a good book. I've used it before, especially when I did work a full-time job as a government employee, even when I was a contractor, you name it. But this was good because it gave me that inspiration I needed when I was working all of those hours, but still had the dream of becoming an author. I was able to get some inspiration from that book. So 2 books today I shared, friends.
Yeah. Yeah. So that last one, schedule time. Schedule time and just be deliberate with your writing goals. So those were the tips we have. And to recap, I'll tell you again, read for inspiration, just write something. Use writing prompts if you can't think of anything to write. Work on some sort of puzzle or brain teaser. Get your creative juices flowing that way. Play music. Try the binaural beats app. Clean your house and make a writing schedule.
Perfect. Now, friends, last week I talked about what to do when you don't feel like writing. That's a little bit different than writer's block. However, in episode 32, I did share some things that could work. So make sure you check that out. In fact, I used the word something to draw your attention to the things I did. So each letter of the word became something so that you wouldn't do nothing. For instance, S was search for information. O was organize your thoughts. M was maintain a positive mindset. E, exercise. T, teach someone else. H, hire support if you need to, or check to see if you're hungry, because you could be hungry. I, invest time in learning something new regarding your writing. And take a nap. As Melanie said, you put that binaural beats on and take a 13-minute nap. Yeah. Cat nap, I think. What do they say? That's 15 minutes. So I'll give you 2 more minutes.
Okay.
And then G, gravitate towards something you do feel like writing about, which we kind of touched on today. So if you want those details, make sure you head over to my website, JanineBennett.com/podcasts, and look for episode 32. Okay.
Excellent. I think that's all we have for everybody today. That was an excellent, quick rundown on what to do to overcome writer's block.
Yes. Thanks for joining us, friend. See you next week.